What's up, all you beautiful people? Welcome. Those of you joining us on Zoom, welcome. Those of you joining us on YouTube, what's up? We're excited to have you all here today. We have a very special guest speaker for you, and I'm so excited for the value you guys are going to get tonight. Just a couple of things, and I want to give our guest as much time as he can possibly take to share with you the incredible stuff he's been able to do with his real estate investing business. Specifically, he's going to be talking to us today about how to automate your life, right? And being real estate investors, that includes our real estate investing businesses, which Daine is, and we'll get into that in a second. But I do want to share some exciting announcements. Guys, we're headed to Idaho Falls this weekend to hear from Chris Wilson. So Chris was on our call, I think, 2 weeks ago. And for those of you who joined us, I'm sure you got some incredible value out of that. So he was there for an hour, right? An hour and 15 minutes. Imagine having 2 full days of Chris, right? And all the amazing knowledge that we can get out of that. Maeli and I are going to be up there in Idaho Falls, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Friday morning, ready to learn. And I know it's Mother's Day weekend. They're crazy for scheduling that. It wasn't me. It was the guys up in Idaho Falls that did it, right? Jason Nedro, we have also had on this call. He's married. He should know better. But what do you do? Weekend before Mother's Day, Friday, 1 p.m. starts the training. And then that's going to go. We have a special dinner with Chris that starts at 6 p.m. on Friday, goes until about 8 p.m., and then starts again at 8 a.m. on Saturday, goes until 5 p.m., and then we'll be heading home to celebrate Mother's Day Sunday morning. So, guys, feel free to join us. Reach out to us if you have any questions about that. We would love to have you there. Reach out via text or you can throw it in the chat. Whatever you'd like to do. Maeli, I'm going to make you a co-host so you can help let people in if that's okay. Guys, we have Daine Clark today. Now, Daine is an incredible real estate investor. Daine and I kind of grew up together in real estate investing. And if you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, if you're an active watcher, we released an interview with me and Daine. Basically, we just got to tell our story. Like, we sat down at Daine's beautiful $1 million ranch up in Idaho, where we sat in front of the fireplace and just kind of reminisced and talked about all the amazing things that we've gotten to do together over the years in our real estate investing careers. And he was gracious enough to accept an invitation to come and be a part of our conversation today. We've got some incredible things to learn from him. And so, guys, hopefully you're taking notes. I'm not going to steal any more of his thunder because I'm sure his story is going to be part of what he's sharing tonight. So without any further ado, guys, welcome student turned peer turned mentor, Daine Clark. Daine, how are you, my friend? Welcome to the call.
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for that intro.
You got it.
I can't tell you how much. And I'm sure you guys saw, if you saw that YouTube video, Mitch has helped me remarkably. I mean, I feel like I have to call the guy every 4 months and be like, Mitch, thank you so much for telling me that I need to get into real estate, even though I was so afraid to do so. But yeah, do you want me to just take it away? Anything else?
Take it away, my friend. No, it's all you. Why don't you share a little bit of your story with us, and then God, we're excited to hear about how you've automated your life so that you can be retired at, how old are you? 34?
33. Is it 2023?
Not even 34.
Yeah, where I'm 33.
Not even 34. I've aged you. I'm sorry, my friend.
Yeah, I'm getting some of those gray hairs. They're starting. No, just kidding. But yeah, I guess we don't have to talk a ton about my personal. Let's actually get into potatoes to give you guys as much value as possible today. But long story short, I grew up on a dairy farm, crazy shy. Like my own wife had to ask me, "Are you ever going to ask me for my number?" Because she could tell that I had the hots for her, and was just like, yeah, like this poor kid. But yeah, crazy shy dairy farming kid, working with my hands roofing, and Mitch approached me and said, "Hey, do you want to get into real estate?" And in fact, I never told Mitch this until last week, but originally I told him no. I said, no, I'm not getting into real estate with you, Mitch, because I didn't know a dang thing. And truth be told, I felt so inadequate. I felt so just there was no way that I was going to be able to do what Mitch was doing. And so it took me a whole year to call him back and say, hey, Mitch, you still doing that real estate thing? And would you mind if I jumped in on the offer and let's get into real estate now? Um, and so that's essentially that how that, and the rest is history. I remember doing my first and second deals and just learning so much. And after doing a couple of deals, I was like, hey, we got this. We got this. So but yeah, super excited to be here. All right. So we have a handful of people on the line on the Zoom. I love making this as interactive as possible. I mean, I can sit here and just tell stories if we want. I think we've done like 200 and some odd real estate deals now, 240, I don't know, 240 some odd real estate deals now. Thank you again, Mitch, for getting me started. I never thought I would be doing this, but I love making this interactive. And so if I can ask you guys one question, because again, Mitch asked me to talk about automations. And one of the things that came to mind absolutely first was some of the automations that we have to take care of within the walls of our own mind. And so one thing I want to ask you guys, right? I hope you're ready for this. Just chime in on the chat. You're welcome to come off of mute if you don't have access to chat. Chime in on the YouTube comments. But here's the one thing, right? Here's an automation for you. Tell me one way that you have won, that you have had a win, that you have won in the last 24 hours. Some way. And some of you might be thinking like, I don't know, I can't, whatever. Like, no, seriously, think of something and give that to me in the chat. Come off of mute, you name it. One win. I don't care if it's personal. I don't care if it's business. I don't care if it's real estate. I don't care if it's spiritual, if it's relational, right? Marriage, marriage related. And share with me one win that you've had in the last 24 hours. Okay. One of my wins has been that I spoke with this gal today that I've been working on for a number of, this is going to be business, but I was speaking with this gal today. I've been talking to her for like a week, and we finally have come to like almost an agreement where I'm going to buy her house for $350,000. This house was built in 2019, so it doesn't need any work, but I'm going to buy her house for $350,000. I figure it will appraise literally today for $528,000. So I'm not a head math guy. What's that, like 175 or something like that? Somebody help me with math. I'm not a head math guy, but purchase for 350 and it's going to appraise for five, let's say 525. And then I'll turn around and lease option it to the people that are living there right now. And so, I mean, just amazing deal. And we finally come to this agreement that, hey, yeah, Daine, I want you to be able to buy this and help the people living there. And so that was a huge win in just getting to that conversation. And so, yeah, let's see. Let me read some of these in the chats. Maeli says, I became the marketing director for, how do you pronounce that? Is it Urain? Urain. I don't know what that is. What is that, Maeli?
Urain, the Utah Women's Real Estate
Utah
Investor
Women's
Network.
Real Estate Marketing Network.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
That's
super
awesome.
fun.
I might have to identify as a woman and come and join you guys. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool though. Congratulations. Let's see. Nick says, checked my kids out of school for lunch at Chick-fil-A. Now that's a huge win. Absolutely love that. Let's see. Kathy says, I learned how to get $10,000 business credit line. Another comment came in. I moved that out of the way. With a brand new corporation, just applied and filled out and filed for the LLC and should have my credit line in 2 weeks. That's awesome. Just got word that we have a court date on a pending litigation case real estate related. That's awesome. Congratulations, Tim. Let's see, any others that I missed as comments are coming in. Went for a nice run in the foothills. Does that count? Kelly, you betcha. Going for a run counts, right? Any win. And the reason I say this though is if you look for the small stuff, and let me turn this heater down just a little bit because I'm gonna get cooked. But if you look for the small stuff in how you are winning every single day, it carries over into everything else that you do, because how you do one thing is how you do all things. And that's what we're going to get into today in automation and systematizing, right? First, we focus on the walls of our own mind. And if you are literally working on that mind and creating some of these automations into your thought processes, it carries over to everything else. And so that's one of mine. That's one of my personal favorites, is always taking the time to figure out how you're winning one way or another. Got a couple other comments. I want to let's see. Is it how do I pronounce that? I'm gonna guess, is it Layla?
Leela.
Come off of mute.
Hey.
Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, Leela.
Give us the win.
I got up this morning feeling pretty good, went to Walgreens looking like crap, but the lady that I talked to at the cash register, I was like, hey, how are you doing? And I don't know her at all, and she was like, I'm not doing great. And she told me about this. She woke up with a hitch in her back, and I freaking popped out my smartphone business card and said, you need to call me. I do massage. I'm not very good at promoting myself, so that was the win.
Oh my god! So it was almost like
what
do they call that? The success gods. The success gods answered just because you put yourself out there and lined you up to meet somebody that would be a potential client. Look at that.
Yep.
That's an awesome win. Congratulations, and thank you for sharing. Somebody else came off of mute. Who was that? Was it Wade? Let's see. I'm not sure who. Somebody else came off. If whoever, you know who you are.
There's Denise has a comment in the chat.
Oh, perfect. She says that she used free bonus points / money at the grocery store tonight. Ooh, that's always fun. Spend your credit card and then let your credit card spend for you. Sasha says, I hit a new PR at the gym. Congratulations. Man, look at all these wins. And if you're on YouTube, comment in as well. I want to hear these wins. And so anyway, back to this. How you do one thing is how you do all things. And so start within the mind. If you're getting into real estate, or if you've gone, I feel like the hardest thing in real estate is to go from deal number 0 to deal number 1. And then after that, from deal 1 to deal 5, from deal 5 to deal 10, from deal 10 to deal 100, right? So no matter where you are in your journey, at the end of the day, make sure that you start the battle. I should say the battle is within the walls of your own mind, in believing that you're winning in all areas of your life, and it starts carrying over. And I even said all these different things because there's in fact, Mitch, maybe one of these days we should do this, but I've trained thousands of people on how to create the vision in your life in 9 different areas, because at the end of the day, how you do one thing is how you do all things. And if you're lacking in, say, like a faith or spiritual goal, and I'm not meaning you have to be like a Christian, anything spiritual, literally anything. If you're lacking in that area, that might be the reason why you're lacking monetarily, or if you're lacking in a relational, like in love. And again, I don't mean that it has to be like a spouse or anything like that, just love in general. If you're lacking in that area, it might be carrying over to other areas of your life. And so set goals in these 9 different areas. And what do they call it? What do they say that quote, a rising tide lifts all ships in the harbor? Again, how you do one thing is how you do all things. So anyway, thank you guys for sharing those wins. Make sure that you're always looking at those every single day. And I feel like that was one of the biggest things that I had to changed my mindset on when I first got started. I remember Mitch presenting when he first was sharing and getting, he was rallying students around him and sharing the knowledge that he had acquired and experienced in real estate. And he said one quote to me, and it just stuck. And he said, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. And I have to admit that when I first came off of dairy farming and after that roofing, because there's no farms in Salt Lake City. And so I obviously couldn't start working on a dairy farm. So I started roofing. And I didn't believe that I was good enough. I didn't believe that I would even be able to learn how to acquire real estate deals. And so that inkling, thank you, Mitch. That inkling is what inspired me to start believing, okay, I need to start programming, right? And that's really all it was. I need to start programming my brain to believe that I can get to that next level. And it's what has propelled me from deal 0 to deal 1 to deal 1 to 100 and counting 200 some odd real estate deals now. But let's talk into some automations within the walls of your own home, right? Notice that we're going to start small and we're going to gradually work our way out, because again, everything is connected. And so one of the things that I remember, because at the end of the day, you've probably heard Mitch talk about his 5 steps to getting into a real estate deal. You got to go find a lead or identify a property. You've got to do a quick analysis. You've got to make your offer. You've got to do your long analysis and all your due diligence and everything after making an offer. And then you got to fund it. And then you got to close or wholesale or renegotiate or whatever, right? You can tell I've heard Mitch train on this time and time again. It's been ingrained into my mind, these steps into acquiring a real estate deal. But at the end of the day, in that light of how you do one thing is how you do all things, let's talk about automations and creating systems within the walls of your own home, right? So I remember in that process of acquiring a real estate deal, and one of those steps was to write up offers and send them off. In fact, one of the jokes that Mitch, I'm not sure if you even tell this joke still, but one of the jokes was get so good at it that you just drive down the street with your window down and you start shooting offers out with an air cannon. And you get so good at making offers to people that you're just firing them off left and right. And I remember writing my first offer, right? Anybody here, give me a thumbs up or something like that you actually have already written up your first real estate offer and you've sent it into a seller or used a realtor, whatever, right? The first one's hard. The first one, I remember thinking, whatever. I hope this works, right? I hope they say yes. But again, thinking automations, every time I would write that offer, it felt like I was like doing all this paperwork and I had to sit in front of a computer. And I remember thinking the first time, like, man, is real estate like a desk job? This is a lot of paperwork and this is a lot of stuff that I have to do over and over and over again. And so I remember thinking like, okay, how can I do this once and then never have to do it again, because it's done forever, right? Take note on that one. If you can do it once and now it's done forever, you don't have to do it over and over again. And in the real estate game, offers is one of those things that you're going to do many, right? I guess depending on how big you want to grow and how many deals you want to do, but you're probably going to send, even to do one real estate deal, you're probably going to send in lots and lots of offers. And so one of those automations, we'll get back into within the walls of your own home. We're going to talk about real estate for a sec. And sorry, I might be all over the place, but automations, right? So we're going to talk like newbie automations, because some people are like, where the heck do I start? And we'll go all the way to like some deep automations that's awesome. Like for example, to this point nowadays, when I pick up a real estate deal, oftentimes I have not even seen that real estate deal. In fact, I think we have now bought more houses that I have not seen than we have bought houses that I have seen. I'm pretty darn sure that is the case now, right? Because of automations. But let's talk about these offers for a second, okay? So, because to me, automations, when I was just getting going, was like, man, I got to fill out all these things on a real estate purchase contract. And so one of the automations I did was build a template real estate purchase contract. I went through that RepC, and if you guys probably know what I'm talking about. I mean, depending on where you are in the country, I just Googled, I was doing all my real estate deals in Utah at the time. And so I just Googled Utah real estate purchase contract, downloaded the RepC right off the Division of Real Estate website, and took that and filled in my signature on every single signature line. I filled in all of the check boxes that I know that I'm going to checkbox every single time. I went in and I knew all the things that I wasn't going to even have to deal with. And I would type, or I wrote in there NA for not applicable, because I'm never going to deal with that one. Like in the Utah RepC, like that second set of earnest money or whatever, I would check that box like, nope, we're not doing that. Not applicable, right? And so I would go through and everything I knew that I had to do every single time, I filled in on a template RepC. So that way, when I was filling out offers, all of a sudden, all I had to do was type in a date, an address, a number, and that's pretty much it, right? I was already pre-signed because I already had all my signatures. So it was kind of funny. If anybody ever got a hold of that, they could start making offers in my name, right? Because it's already pre-signed. But anyway, and so to me, like that is a very beginner form of an automation, right? If you do it once, it's done forever. Yeah. And so start thinking about that in your business. If you're going to have to do this more than one time, ask yourself, how can I do this where it is done forever? Yeah. And let's take that to a little step deeper though, because that was like automation when I was like doing my first and second and third real estate deals. Obviously, I don't want to do that over and over and over again. And so then we started looking into, hey, how can we have a computer do this for us? And I remember the first time, Mitch, are you still using Google Sheets by chance to do all those autofill, legal docs and RepCs and stuff like that?
Yes,
we found out that
learned it from you actually.
Yeah. Oh man, if you guys have not learned Google Sheets yet, take a little free YouTube crash course on, and here's the thing that you're going to Google, mail merge, right? Google Sheets mail merge. You could do this. You don't have to do Google Sheets. You could do Microsoft Word and Excel. I'm not sure if the Apple platform does the mail merge, but look into this system to create automations for paperwork. And I remember that first time I had learned about this, I was just like, blew my mindset, brain cells blown all over the wall. Oh my gosh, I am never filling out another real estate purchase contract in my life. And we were able to create a system through that automation in like a Google Sheet, where all you have to do is type in those things really quickly, name, address, dollar amount, dates, and then you push a button and the computer generates an offer for me, again, pre-signed and ready to submit that kind of offer. And then we took that same concept again, this is getting in a little bit deeper. This is going to take some kind of know-how or hiring somebody. But the knowledge is out there, right? I didn't know any of this stuff through any schooling. I YouTubed the heck out of it and got on all those forums and I think that's what they call them, forums and web stacks or whatever they call those things. And learned how to do some of these things. And I've even hired people that are professionals to do these things for me. But now we've got that system where literally I don't pay anybody to do paperwork for me anymore. The computer does it. I pay my assistant to push the button now, and she just makes sure everything look good. And so even when we pick up a real estate deal, our offers are automated, but so are all of our legal documentation. We've raised 57, or here, I've got this pulled up. I was just looking at it. We've now raised and put to work 127,484 $1 million of other people's money to work. And that obviously takes a lot of paperwork when you're raising other people's money, right? And if you've learned anything from Mitch and a lot of the things that he's sharing with, some of these secrets that he's sharing with people, it starts with a conversation, but then that conversation needs to turn into, okay, cool, let's write this down, essentially on some kind of legal paperwork, or let's call an attorney and let's get some legal paperwork, right? We've done it so many times now, the same thing. Automations. If you're going to do it over and over and over again, you want to create that to where literally now I pay my assistant to push a button when this partner is doing a deal with us and we're raising money to do that. And bam, all of our legal documentation is completely automated. I no longer do any paperwork, and I don't even pay people to do paperwork. Computer does all of it, all the way from real estate purchase contract to somebody wiring money into a title company to do another deal, which goes back to our, if you recall our original theme. Do the thing once so that it's done forever. And you can do this over and over again. And one of the things that, in fact, I can't remember where I got this. Mitch, I might have got this from you. But I remember one of the people that I was learning from when I was getting started, they said, never think about doing one thing or doing like, let's say one deal. Never think about just doing one deal. Start asking yourself, how could I do this? Let's just say let's say you're doing fix and flips. How could I do fix and flips times 100? And it's interesting because that mindset of hey, I just want to do a real estate deal. I just want to do a fix and flip. Of changing that mindset to, hey, how could I do 100 fix and flips? Your perspective changes drastically. Because if you start thinking, how could I do 100 of these? You're not just thinking like, oh yeah, I need to like write an offer here, write an offer there. It's like, no, I need to do this times many, 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 many. And all of a sudden you start thinking about these automations and all these systems. And then you start wondering what to Google, and you start Googling and you go down these rabbit holes, if you will. And like I said, that's essentially how I found that automation in Google Sheets, for crying out loud. It's free, right? Literally. And I've had people offer me tens of thousands of dollars, literally waving in my face. Here's my credit card. I want this system that you have built. And I'm like, dude, it's free. It's on Google. Like, I can't even sell it to you. I don't own Google Sheets. It's on Google Sheets, right? Simple, because of how powerful you can create some of these automations. Are thinking that way. Instead of just doing like one deal or doing a thing, ask yourself, how could I do this 100 times? How could I flip 100 houses? How could I buy 100 rentals? How could I buy 100 seller finance deals? How could I wholesale 100 deals, right? Whatever it is that you're focusing on, how could I buy 100 units in apartment complexes or commercial? You name it. The sky's the limit. How can I do this 100 times? And all of a sudden, that question points you in very, very different directions. Okay, but let me go back to within the walls of your own home really quickly. And if you guys, if anybody has questions and wants me to go into anything deeper, I am more than happy to stop and let's have a conversation. Right? I love making sure that this is speaking to you guys, because if it's not, let's change to what you guys are focusing on right now. Right. And I'm trying to give that perspective of like, hey, if this is your first deal, here's some tips and tricks. If you're trying to go from 5 to 100 or 10 to 100 deals, here's a couple of things to be thinking about. Right.
Daine,
just stop me. Go ahead.
We have a question on YouTube, and it may be off topic, so let's not derail the topic. But don't know if you want to speak to it. I've already said reach out to me on Facebook, and we can set up a game plan. But it says, Sly here. Me and my wife met Mitch and Maeli where they spoke about velocity banking. We were looking to invest in real estate deals and wanting to learn more. Where do we start for passive income? Give us like a 30-second answer.
Passive income, right? So yeah, I mean, we would have to start over and maybe take another hour to really dive into this. So definitely take Mitch up on that offer to have a one-on-one conversation with him. But I'll give you this. In my opinion, all real estate investors are not created equal. And I don't mean like people have more advantage or less advantage. Like there's different personality types, if you will. And so there's going to be this pendulum, right? Mitch, I'm not sure if you've heard me talk about this, but there's this pendulum in real estate where some people want to be uber passive, right? That's like this end of the pendulum. The other end of the pendulum are people that want to be like uber active, right? Like the guy on the active side is like, yeah, I want to move into that sucker. I'm going to sleep on a cot in one of the rooms and I'll bring a microwave because we're remodeling the kitchen. And so there's no kitchen. So I'm going to put a microwave in the bathroom. So then I have a little bit of running and I'm going to live there and we're going to swing the hammer, right? Uber active. Or on the very, very passive side, if you're like, hey, I just want to sit back. I want to twiddle my thumbs a little bit and I want to answer the phone and have deals presented to me so I can write a check or send a wire transfer to do a real estate deal, right? So the uber passive, where you just want to put money to work, or the uber active where, and I don't meet a lot of people on that uber active where they're like, yeah, I want to live there and sleep on a cot in a sleeping bag and remodel that house while we live there. I have helped people do that though. I helped a guy up in Idaho, and oh my goodness, like bless this gentleman. But he's like, yeah, I'm going to live there. I'm going to sleep in a cot and I'm I'm just like, dude, you're crazy. And he's like, yeah, I'm ambitious. And so I helped this gentleman buy that house cash. And he moved in and swung the hammer and did the deal. And hey, we all made money, right? And I got paid back because, again, I could see the guy's ambition. I could see he was doing it. So I gave him the cash. We did the deal. But the funniest part about this was I was like, dude, you're nuts. Like, how in the world? Like, thank goodness you're not married. And he responds, he's like, oh no, I have a wife and like, I can't remember, 2 or 3 kids. And I was just like, whoa, you're going to move your family into a construction zone and anyway, we made good money though. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to discriminate.
It sounds like he wasn't asking himself the question, how can I do 100 of these?
No, he wasn't. But you know what? I said, you know what? I'll help you. I'll totally help you. And so we helped that gentleman. Okay. So, I'm so, was it, slate? I can't remember. Slide. So be thinking about that. Where do you feel like you want to go on this pendulum of, I just want deals presented to me, twiddle my thumbs, I want to be super active, or somewhere in the middle, right? I feel like a rental property where you manage it, a rental property managed by you, so not a property manager, that's like smack dab in the middle, right? That's not like all the way passive because you have tenants, you own the house, and you're going to have to fix a water heater now and again. You're going to have to fix a leaky toilet or whatever, right? A leaky roof. There's something involved in that property that's not ultra passive, right? And then obviously a rental with a manager is just a little bit more passive. But again, like you still have to pay someone to fix that water heater or that leaky toilet or whatever, right? So again, not like all the way passive, right? So rentals are like right in the middle of this pendulum. And so there's the thing that you need to focus on. Mitch will definitely help you dive into that. That's what he did for me, right? And I guess if I even speak to this myself, one of the things that you'll notice, and if we have some time to really like bust out some case scenario on real estate deals, I love to be more on the passive side. I love to think like the bank, right? A lot of the properties that I've done, the reason I have not seen most of them is because they're not rentals. They're not fix and flips. I am thinking like a bank in one way or another on those types of real estate deals. And so anyway, so there, I hope that helps you. And Mitch, definitely bring that up when you chat with this individual and help them answer that question for themselves. Nicholas has a question. When did you decide or need to go towards automation? Was it a progression? Oh yeah. Like there was never like just a light switch that kicked on. In fact, here was my cue. This is funny. Here was my cue. Whenever I started to hate doing something, that's when I was like, okay, it's time for something better than this. For example, like the first one I shared was with the offers, because when I heard that analogy from Mitch, like, yeah, you got to like roll your window down and start firing offers out of an air cannon out of your window. I remember taking that to heart and like, okay, I got to send a lot of offers. And I wrote my first offer and I wrote my second offer and I wrote my third offer. And then it got old. I was just like, yeah, this sucks.
Daine's like, how can I strap that air cannon to one of my drones so that it's automated?
Exactly. Yeah.
Show him the drone, Daine. Show him the drone.
Drop offers. Yeah. Drop offers from the sky with your DJI drone. Right. And so after like the third offer, I was like, I'm tired of this. And I want to make this easier for myself to do the next one. I want to be excited about making offer number 4 or 5 through 50. Right. And so that was usually the sign, is if I'm getting tired of something because I've done it multiple times. I mean, it's human nature for us, right? Human nature typically doesn't like to do like the same dang thing every single day. I mean, that's why we have entrepreneurs. That's why we have people that are like, no, I can't. I'm psychologically unemployable, right? I can't have a day job where I just like do the same thing every single day. It's human nature. And so that was always my cue of like, okay, I got to make this better for myself. And then it gradually got better through thinking about how I can automate things little by little, right? And we don't have to think about automation as just computers. Like for example, the win that in fact, let's talk about the win that I had today, where I finally got to a point with this gal where she's like, yeah, you can buy my house for $175,000 below appraised value, because it sounds like you're really going to help us and be able to turn this around. Again, I'm thinking like a bank, right? I'm not going to flip this house. I'm not going to turn this into a rental. I'll buy this house and I will turn around and sell it to the people living in it as basic, it'll be a lease option, right? And I like the lease option because, again, on that pendulum, it's a little more passive, because with the lease option, especially in the Utah, the template that you get off of the Utah real estate, Utah real estate website, it has these check boxes on that contract. And it has these check boxes for the tenant pays for the water, the tenant pays for the utilities, the tenant pays for the sewer, the trash, the everything, right? And so my template has every single one of those things checked, where the person living there is going to take care of all of it. I'm not doing any of that stuff, right? And so that's how my lease option templates are, where I'm not a landlord, guys. Like you need to treat this like your house. You're a homeowner. You need to be thinking like a homeowner and acting like a homeowner. Because if you call me in the middle of the night, for one, I'm not answering. But even if you call me in the middle of the day and say, hey, in fact, one of the real stories that just happened, I bought a house down in St. George, Utah. It gets pretty hot down there, and I did a deal like this, and the gal called me up. And she's like, hey, like it's getting really hot and the air conditioner went out. We got to replace the air conditioner. And it was funny because she didn't call me to say, Daine, will you fix this air conditioner? Because I mean, she knew the agreement that we signed. And she said, didn't we get me some kind of like a home warranty or something like that, so that I can call them and see if there's any way they can help me to fix my HVAC? And I was like, yeah, let me get the email for you, right? If that was a rental, I mean, that would have ruined my afternoon, maybe even my week, to have to call contractors and get bids and have people come out and do HVAC and replace and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, again, I don't want to dog on that, because honestly, like deal per deal, the guy that does the rental probably makes more money than I do, deal per deal. But I'm able to do many deals and not have to hire massive amounts of manpower to manage our portfolio. And so anyway, I'm trying to remember why I was even going here. Automations. Is it a process? Anyway, I'm sure it'll come back to me. But I'm trying to remember. There was a point to all this that we were going this way. But anyway, let's take a step back into the walls of our own homes, though, correct? Because we talked a little bit about real estate, and one of the things that I have felt very important has been to think in all these ways, right? Automations and system. Oh, you know what? I remember. I'm sorry. Before we go into the walls of our own home, I'm going to come up with this. I'm going to come up with this or share with you guys this aspect of automation. Okay. So automation doesn't always have to be with a computer. It doesn't have to be with these fancy schmancy softwares and systems, right? Because some people might be like gulping and feeling like, how am I going to do any of that? I'm not techie. I'm not, right? That's fine. Because at the end of the day, automation is just anything that you don't have to do. Oh, I remember I was telling this story about this gal and this property. Okay, so the win that I had today, the deal that I looked at that sounds like we're going to be moving forward with, someone else, my assistant, right? I have an assistant. Someone else pulled all the comparables for me, did all the analyzation of cash flows and what it would rent for, and let's see, what else did she grab for me? What the current balances on the loans. So basically the payoffs on the current balances of the loans, right? So all of those things were gathered by a human, right? My assistant gathered all of these items of information for me to look at this deal without me doing anything, without me even asking for her, actually. She knew that the deal was coming in, and she just knows because I have a set list of things for her to do. And then all of a sudden I open up my laptop and I click a button, and all of those things that I need to look at this deal to say, yep, I like this deal. Or no, I don't think, if we could get the deal to here, then maybe it's a good deal. That too is automation. In my opinion, if you're paying someone to do those things and you don't have to do them, that's automation. Automation to you, right? Because you're not doing them, someone else is doing them, right? And so even if and this is so funny, I have to just tell like a brief story on hiring my first employee. I was so scared. And somebody put it into perspective for me, and so I'm going to share this with you guys. And so if you find you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you're just like, I'm not techie, I can't do this, I don't want to do computer stuff, I don't want to learn it, right? I feel for you. But let's say that you hire somebody to work for you for, let's even go like kind of let's go a little bit more. Yeah, Mitch says no robots necessary. Let's go a little bit more. I want to say liberal, generous, a little more generous. And let's say we pay somebody like 15. Let's say 20. Let's say we pay somebody $20 per hour. And based on the volume that you're going to have them do, you only have them work for you like, I don't know, 6 hours a week. People will take little side jobs like that, right? So 6 hours a week, I'm not a head math guy. So 6 times 4, so it's 24 hours per month times $20 an hour. That's $480 per month. Okay, so let's say that you find some, let's say there's these things that you're doing that you get to that point, like I think it was Nicholas's question. When do you decide that you want to move towards automation? And you're like, oh, I hate doing this. This is old now. And you hire somebody to work for you 6 hours a week. So that's, I can't remember how many hours we decided that was, but that's $480 a month. That's not very much money, right? Especially if you do like one real estate deal, that's not that much money. And so all of a sudden you have automation in your life that you're paying someone $480 a month to do that you don't have to do. That's automation in its finest even. Yeah. Even if that means that you like, for example, I hate with a passion, social media. I hate Facebook. I hate, the YouTubes, actually, you know what? YouTube is cool because you can learn some fun stuff. But what are there? Instagram. I don't even know some of these. Snapchat,
TikTok.
I don't even know what TikTok is. Twitter. I don't have any of these things. Don't even have a login, right? But nowadays you kind of have to have some kind of a social media presence. And so I hire my wife, and I literally pay her as an employee of the business, right? I'm getting a pretty good deal, I have to admit there. But I asked my wife, hey, just make me look like a family man that does real estate. and post on my social media. And I even tell her, like, you don't even have to log into my own social media. Just post on your page and then tag me in it, and then log into my account and accept the tag. And so that way I look like I'm a family man doing real estate, because that's basically what I am, is a family man doing real estate. And that's it. And so to me, that's automation, right? And I give my wife money to do that every single month.
Daine, I want to point out in your previous example, you used $6 a week, or excuse me, 6 hours a week, 4 weeks out of the month. That's 24 hours. Do you, and how much was it? 400 and some odd dollars that you pay?
Like $480 a month.
$480. Is there a deal where you've made less than $480 in all the deals you've done since you started automating?
The funny thing about this is, the first wholesale deal I ever did, I made 500. And so the answer is no, I've never done
Nice. Okay.
$180.
But think about it. That is a day a month that you get added back to your life. Like a day a month for you.
Exactly. Yep.
Because you
24
automated.
bucks, 24 hours back per month. Oh, it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. And now I've got two nearly full-time employees. And it is just awesome. Absolutely awesome. Working 3 days. Yeah. And so let's see, let me check comments here. Okay, we're good. And yeah, any more comments? All right. So we've talked real estate, right? Automations can be human driven. That's not you, can be computer driven, even if you go free, right? In fact, I think I pay for some of the more advanced stuff like Zapier, but I don't use it like crazy, because I haven't found the need to yet. I use it a little bit, but you don't have to go crazy advanced, right? Most of the automations I have are absolutely free 99 in the automation side. And then of course the employee costs me. I mean, right now I'm probably spending in payroll. Oh my goodness. I would dare guess like $4,000 a month. And that's it. And getting nearly full time out of 2 different people to do a lot of stuff for me. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So even then, $4,000 a month is cheap when, especially if, I think last year we did 68 deals, I think it was. And so that was cheap to hire 2 people and pay them 4 times 12 is almost $50,000 a year. And so, yeah, all right, let's talk really quickly. I do want to make sure we spend some time within the walls of our own home. And then I do want to open up to questions for you guys as well, a little deeper. And even if it's like crazy off topic, I'm happy to go into anything you guys want. Okay, but within the walls of our own home, still think in automations. If there's something that you do over and over and over again, how can you do it once so that you never have to do it again? Right. So one of the funniest examples with this, I hate doing the dishes. Right. Anybody else here? Like anybody else? Give me like a fist bump or emoji or something like that. I hate like loading, unloading, doing the dishes, the dishwasher. Like, oh, I hate it. Right. And so I remember thinking like, okay, how we do one thing is how we do. How can I automate some of this stuff? And so it took me like a year. It took me a year to do this. But I talked to my wife and the whole family into building a template. And it's funny, like template real estate purchase contract. We have a template dishwasher. And so we designed a template dishwasher where we literally never have to unload our dishwasher ever. And sometimes we don't even need to run it for like days at a time. And we have had the cleanest sink and dishes, and we've had a model home clean kitchen for longer than we ever have in our entire marriage, because we thought I sat down with my wife, and again, it took me like a year to talk her into this. So again, I guess we could have a lesson on persistence too, but literally model kitchen clean, model home clean kitchen, because of this one automation that we set up. And it's a system, right? And everybody uses and has buy-in for the system. So we have this template dishwasher where we have 5 bowls, 5 plates, 5 forks, 5 spoons, 5 cups, and then 1 pan. And I'm trying to think of but I think you guys are picking up what I'm putting down here. And so that template dishwasher never changes. And those dishes don't go in the cupboard. They actually stay in the dishwasher all the time. And we never will place just like one dirty dish into the dishwasher ever, unless we're going to run it. And so here's how we do this. And so we have, again, we had to think through this, and it's just so funny because this is freaking dishes, right? But I tell you, cleanest kitchen for the longest period of time in our entire marriage, right? Sometimes we've even had some like marital fights about dishes. We don't have those anymore. Anyway, template dishwasher, and we designed the system where you go on Amazon and you get that $30 automated soap dispenser. You stick it right next to the sink, and we also have one of those brush things, and it has a little hook where you can grab it and put it on the hook with one hand. You don't have to like, move anything like that. And so let's say I go get a bowl of cereal. And so I grab one bowl and I grab one spoon. I have my bowl of cereal, and I take that little brush off of that hook, hold it under the automated soap dispenser, brush through, because what are you going to do it anyway? You have to put water, you guys know this, right? After you have cereal, if you don't put water in the bowl, it's going to get all hard and nasty, right? And sometimes the dishwasher is not even going to get that off. And so I'm like, oh, and we timed ourselves. It literally takes 14 seconds to do that motion. Grab the brush, hold it under the automated soap dispenser, wipe the bowl and the spoon, rinse it off really quick, throw it back in the template dishwasher, done. And now the kitchen is perfectly clean. The dishes are, the sink is perfect, no dirty dishes, right? And then let's say, no, so that's just like myself. I'm just gonna do that one dish, one spoon, one bowl. And I wash it really fast, put it back. It takes me literally 14 seconds, right? How long does it take you to fill it up with water and just leave it? Like 7 seconds. I can afford 7 extra seconds to wash it and put it in the dishwasher. Anyway, my wife is perfectly happy now because now all of a sudden there's not tons and tons and tons of dishes, right, to do. Now, let's say my wife and I love to host. We love hosting people over at our new place, like all the time. Like even at the drop of a hat, we had 24 people over at our house yesterday, and off of like just a whim, people are like, hey, we're coming over. Okay, yeah, come on over, right? We'll have a ball and party. Yeah. And so if we have like a big event, same thing. We have the template, the dishwasher's always clean. And so we can use all the stuff in there. If we need extras, then we just use the paper, and we did all compostable because, I got a tree hug and tough stuff like that, but compostable spoons, compostable forks, that kind of stuff. You can get them off at Costco by the thousands. But anyway, let's say we have a big thing and we're going to use a bunch of those dishes. All you do is take all the dirty dishes, throw them in the template dishwasher and push start. And then as soon as it's done cleaning, you don't empty it. You just leave it as is, as the template, and it's clean, right? And you don't have to take them out and put them in the freaking cupboard or whatever, in the drawer to what all that stuff, okay? And so again, how you do one thing is how you do all things. So start thinking in your life, is there anything that you've done over and over and over again? We don't have time to get into our laundry automations, but how do you think inside of the walls of your own home? Let that be the place where you begin creating systems, automations that make your life better, that make your life happier, right? Get rid of some of that stress at the end of the day, right? And you'll notice that when you start building these systems in your home, in your relationships within that home with your spouse or even children or whatever, friends, roommates, I don't care, any other humans that you are sharing a house with, and you start creating these systems and automations, guess what? The creativity goes through the roof, absolutely through the roof, not only in the home, but in your business. And you start coming up with these ideas like, oh yeah, we could do this, or oh yeah, we could do that. And it just gets better and better and better with these automations. And same thing, automations don't have to be systems, or, and in fact, technically that, to me, that's an automation. Template dishwasher, that's an automation. Template real estate purchase contract, that's an automation. You did it once. Now you never have to do it again, right? It's done forever. And so anyway, start thinking like, how can I systematize everything? How can I run my household like a business? And when you get the buy-in of, in fact, I had a mentor tell me this once, and he said, Daine, if you can figure out the relationships within the walls of your own home, you can have anything you want. Because with the same skill, and again, it takes skill. I had to learn stuff to talk my wife into doing stuff like this. I had to learn skills in negotiations and not, making people mad, right? Those skills carry over into your business. And when you show up and you know how to have a calm, collected negotiation with even your spouse, guess what? That carries over to your business. That carries over to the person that you're buying a house from, because you treat them with that amount of respect that you even do within the walls of your own home. And bam, again, everything just gets better, right? So I hope this is helping you guys, and even as simple as freaking dishwashers and having a model home clean kitchen type of stuff, right? But yeah, let's open up to questions. We're about the top of the hour, so we can take a few minutes if we like. Open up to any questions. Again, topic is wide open. If we want to talk about real estate deals, funding, raising money, making offers, analyzing, you name it, anything you guys want to talk about, I am game.
I want to throw out just kind of a thought. One of the examples, Daine, that you and I have kind of always bounced off each other is McDonald's, right? And love their food or hate their food, doesn't matter. As a business and as a real estate empire, they are at the pinnacle, right? They're awesome. And there's such a great example. I mean, I use that all the time as I'm talking to students about the idea of creating systems. You can be the restaurateur that is the guy that shows up at 6 a.m. and jiggles the keys in the door and does all the things, or you can just write it down, and then all the things that you would do. Opening the door, sweeping the floor, turning on the fryers, managing the employees, closing up. But at the end of the day, all the things you do, you can be that guy where you have to be there, and then your scale is 1, or you can write it down into a system, hire employees, or maybe within a few years hire robots. Right, we're gonna all be out of a job at a certain point, and just use these systems, and then your scalability is infinite. And I love how you illustrated that with real estate. The guy that you helped do that move in fix and flip, he can do 1, but because and a lot of people that have rentals, they maybe make more money per deal than you, but they're limited to how many deals they can do because of the time amount or the amount of time they're putting into each one of those deals. Whereas, yeah, you're making slightly less per deal, but you have no limit to the number of deals you can do because you've automated it, right?
100%.
I love that. I love that.
If I put that in my own words, you either write the manual or you read the manual and follow.
Yep, that's it.
Pick your pick. At the end of the day, that's awesome. Yeah, dude, thanks, brother. Coach Rhodes says, would love to hear about your lending business, how you started and how you have automated it. Cool. Yeah, let's get into that just a little bit as well. I want to read these. I want to read all of these too. Kathy says, I have template forms for potential home purchases that I can fill in the blanks for their info, follow-up, etc. I used to use one for future clients for mortgages. As soon as they turned into a transaction, I'm guessing that's transaction, the form then came out of my planner and was taped to the front. Yeah, exactly. That's a system. And the cool thing about that is because, and I love how Mitch brought up the manual, right? Sometimes the system is just the manual to do like the dishwasher, I guess. Really, all we did was build a manual. We wrote a manual for our dishwashing system, and everybody follows that, right? Even my 7-year-old, even my 5-year-old, even my 3-year-old or 2-year-old, and my 0-year-old obviously doesn't use dishes. But even all of the kids, we have built a system. So like the 2-year-old, his part to play into that system is that he just has to bring his bowl from the table to the counter. He can't even reach to get into the sink. And that's part of the system. And my wife and I are so committed to this system, right? Or let's call it this manual, right? I love how Mitch brought up the manual idea. We're so committed to using this manual that literally, if my 2-year-old does not clear that bowl or plate or fork or whatever from the table, we will leave it there until the next meal. Because in our template, we have 5 bowls, 5 plates, 5 forks, 5 spoons. And so if my 2-year-old leaves his bowl or plate or whatever on the table, and the next meal rolls along, and my wife and I have to, sometimes we kind of bite our tongue or, cringe our teeth, whatever, because it's sitting there on the dirty dish on the table. And we train the 2-year-old that, oh, shoot, if you want, let's say it was from breakfast to lunch. If you want lunch, look at the table. Your bowl is still there. Do you want me to just drop your lunch in that bowl? It has a little bit of milk in the bottom of it and it's all crusted and stuff. Do you want me to just drop your lunch into that bowl for you? And so my 2-year-old is buying in now to that system. My 7-year-old, he is now starting to wash his own, right? So back to like the wash one bowl and put it back in the thing. And of course we have to inspect it because, it's a 7-year-old. But at the end of the day, it's a manual. And everybody follows it and has that buy-in, right? And so yeah, I mean, a system can be as simple as like, hey, we do it this way, and it is written, right? We actually do have our template dishwasher documented, as funny as that might sound. But again, I want to really play into this where this carries over into my business, in my real estate. So much so that I'm like, okay, how I do one thing is if I need to document it in my house, I'm going to document it in the business and get good at both, right? And so yeah, use those templates. All right, Coach Rode, let's talk about this really quickly. On the and obviously, maybe Mitchell can invite me back and we can go in deeper detail into this one day, someday. But the lending business. In fact, Coach Rode, let me ask a follow-up question with that. What aspect? Because there's a whole bunch of different things that I'm doing nowadays in that space. And so is there something specifically that you would like me to cover, or are you just saying in general?
Well, I'd like to know the origination, like how it started. And then basically, I don't know anything about it. So anything that you'd like to share would be fine. And also just your systems that you've set in place to allow you to do that business with less work.
Yes. Daine, I have a story to lead into that, just real quick.
Yeah.
So, and you might remember this differently, so feel free to correct it. But yeah. Daine and I
know where you're going with this.
Yeah, so Daine and I did a couple of fix and flips together early on in Daine's career, because he saw me doing them, and he's like, "Well, let's go do some fix and flips together, right?" And so we did a couple of them together. I think you went off and did a couple of them on your own after that, and you came back to me. I remember this conversation. You came back to me, and you're like, I realized something. And I'm like, oh yeah, what's that, Daine? And you go, I hate fix and flips. I'm like, okay, well, good. I'm glad we uncovered that truth, right? And I said, okay, is there anything? What did you like about it? Like, was there any part of it that you liked? And you're like, well, I mean, mostly it sucked, but I did enjoy raising money. I said, then take that and run with it, dude. And man, you've gone way further than I ever even thought you would be able to with it. But that's the fun story that I have kind of leading into that.
Yeah. So in one of the deals, in fact, when all that was going down, in fact, Mitch had found a deal and he had too many going at the time. And so he's like, hey, I'm going to wholesale this one. And he's like, Daine, do you want to buy it? And that was when I was still in the phase where I'm like kicking against the pricks almost, where it's like, yeah, I'm still flipping houses because it's really good money. And it's like the golden handcuffs almost. And so, but at that point in my career, I was like, hey, I'm not borrowing hard money. Like I'm going to raise all my own because I liked doing that. So I was like, yeah, I'll raise 100% of every real estate deal that I'm going to do. And so that way we just literally, we buy the whole house cash. And so that was like, kind of like how I set myself up without knowing it, was just said, I'm going to get good at raising money and just always have enough money to buy every house we want to buy all cash. But again, I was still like doing these fix and flips. And I remember on this particular deal that Mitch was going to wholesale to myself and I was going to do it, she came, my wife, my wife and I had planned to go down to Disneyland. And so the deal came like just at the wrong time. It was like, it came in and we had to close in a couple of days, but we were just leaving that day to go to Disneyland. And so I found myself walking through Disneyland and the streets of Disneyland, in the lines of Disneyland, talking on the phone, putting money together, getting contractors, getting bids. And my wife is just fit to be tied with me, because here I am walking through Disneyland and not really enjoying it with my family. And so I remember calling Mitch back and said, you know what, Mitch, like, it's not worth my marriage. I'm just going to pass on this deal. Like, I know it's a really good one, but I'm just going to pass on this deal. And I said, but maybe if you're going to wholesale it to somebody else, I actually know this guy that might want to buy it, and it was a mutual friend of both Mitch's and mine. Hey, I know this guy that might want to buy it. Maybe I'll just be his bank, right? Because I didn't want to just like get rid of the deal. I still wanted to figure out how to make a little bit of money somehow. So I was like, hey, I've got more money than I need, because I was raising money, right? And so Coach Road, like, that was like the first thing, was get good at raising money with people, get good at having that conversation. And so anyway, I tell Mitch, hey, maybe this guy, a mutual friend of ours, he'll buy it. Maybe I'll be the bank. And I kid you not, I went back to all those partners that were going to be a part of that real estate deal, and we were just going to buy the whole house cash. And I told them, and I said, hey guys, I've got an idea. Instead of just me handing this deal off to somebody else and none of us make money, how about we become the bank? And sure, we're probably going to get paid less, but we'll be able to know exactly what we're going to get paid. Instead of like, hopefully we stay on budget, hopefully we sell it in this amount of time, hopefully all these different things, so it could go up and down depending on all the different variables in the fix and flip. And so I said, hey, we're going to basically say, this is what our paycheck is going to be, charging an interest rate, and someone else is going to flip the house. And I kid you not, the gentleman that I had raised, one of the gentlemen that I had raised money from and was going to put, I can't remember, he was probably going to put $75,000 into that deal as one of the partners. And literally what he told me changed my life. And he said, Daine, instead of being kind of a variable, maybe we'll make this much, maybe we'll make this much kind of a thing, and you're telling me that I can just, here's what my paycheck is going to be, and I know what to expect. He's like, I got a lot more money that, because he was only going to put $75,000 into this deal. He said, I have a lot more money that I would like to put into real estate. And so I didn't want to put it into fix and flips because, again, it's up and down. And so if you could bring more deals like this, I would love to do more. And so I was just like, I've been doing it all wrong. Why am I shouldn't say all wrong, because again, I don't want to discriminate against people that make more money than I do flipping houses, because they do, right? My paycheck is usually like 1/3 of the amount of people that I help flip houses, right? When I flip a house, or when I'm the bank with somebody, usually they're making 2/3 and I'm making 1/3, right? So they make way more money than I do. So I don't want to discriminate against that. But I was just like, man, I could do this times dozens of deals at the same time, instead of, I think my bandwidth, the most deals I was ever able to do at one time was about 3. And that's like all I could handle with all of the, let's call it management. Anyway, and so that deal, Mitch sold it to that gentleman, and I became the bank with I put my own money in, and I used money from those partners. And we all basically created that partnership on the loan, right? I didn't borrow their money and lend it to someone else and do like a markup, because that's illegal. You can't borrow money and lend it to someone else and make money unless you are regulated by all those, government regulations where they can do that fractionalized banking type stuff. But I lent my money, they lent theirs, and I basically made an origination for bringing the whole deal together. And light bulb turned on where I was just like, oh my goodness, I could do so many deals at the same time and never have to call a contractor. Because again, I wasn't good at that. Some people are very good at that. I'm not one of them. And so that's where it was born, where I was trying to flip houses. I shouldn't say I was about to lose my marriage, but my wife was not very happy with me. And so out of desperation was like, how can I still make money with this? And how can I still make money with this deal, but not have to be going through all these, these time sensitive things, or, time consuming things that I had to go through with like a fix and flip. And so what rates when I lend money to people to do a fix and flip, and nowadays we've done stuff where, in fact, we just wrapped one of these up. This was one of the coolest deals we've been able to do for someone. Was I lent money to a gentleman, I charged them 10% interest, and I always do 2.5 points. So 10% interest, 2.5 points. And I actually wanted to be the guy that I wish I had when I was just getting started. And so I actually tell people like, hey, don't make me payments. Like I'm just going to wire the money in, and you do the thing that you need to do, and we'll all get paid on the same day when this house sells. And so one of the things I was going to tell you about a deal we just wrapped up. This one was really cool. So we bought the house cash. I wired the money in. He didn't make me any payments for all the months that we've been doing the deal. He fixed it all up, and then he put it on the market. And he actually pulled let's call it a play out of my book, and he listed it and said, seller financing available. And so he put on his listing, seller financing available. And what we're doing now is someone just bought it from him on seller financing. And I let him sell it, even though I technically still have a loan on it. And so I let him sell it on seller financing, even though my loan is still in place. And now he's refinancing. And because I'm a private individual, I'm just a guy, right? I can run out of money, right? I'm not like institutional money that has hedge fund behind me. We only have, I don't know, let's see. I guess $12 million. We probably have $12 million total that I can lend. And after 12 million is gone, right? And so because I'm a private individual, I am allowed to do things, as per Fannie and Freddie guidelines, I'm allowed to do loan modifications. And so the appraisal on this house just came back, and I won't be able to remember all the numbers, but let's say it just came back way high. Appraisal came back way high. And now this gentleman is going to refinance me out and sell it with his loan in place on that seller finance. Well, technically he already has, but now he's going to refinance my money out to pay me back. Because again, he doesn't want to pay me 10%. He wants to go pay like 6%. And so he's refinancing out. And because it appraised so high, technically he can get a loan for more money than he owes me. But banks won't let you do that. If anybody knows what a rate and term refinance is, they won't give you cash back. And if you want cash back, they're going to charge you for it. They're going to jack up your interest rate. They're going to jack up your fees. But again, I'm a private individual, so I'm allowed to do a loan modification. And so last minute, I said, hey, where'd the appraisal come in? What's your, what's 75% of the appraisal, whatever. And there was an extra, let's see. I want to say it was somewhere in the $40,000 range. There was an extra $40,000 on the table that he could get a loan for above and beyond what he owes me. Again, I'm a private individual. I can last minute say, here, let me loan you $40,000. Oh, guess what? My payoff is now whatever my payoff was plus $40,000. And if you're picking up what I'm putting down here, I just gave him $40,000 cash back from my loan, but his refinance maintained rate and term refinance status, where and what rate and term means is that you can only refinance exactly what the payoff is. And that's all he's doing. He's refinancing exactly what my payoff is, but he still got $40,000 cash back from that loan. He basically got his entire remodel budget back, and he got a down payment from his end buyer, if you will, or his seller finance buyer. So he is in this deal literally $0 out of his own pocket, just because we were able to, again, buy it cash, give him the time to remodel it, find a seller finance buyer, and now refinance with me doing that modification last minute and giving him cash back before he does the rate and term. Right. And so there's like, and these are like my signature deals. I love these types of deals where you take a fix and flip and just go so much, you go so much deeper and he's going to take that fix and flip where he probably would have cashed out, if he would, maybe he would have cashed out $40,000, but over the course of the next 5 years, he's going to turn that $40,000 fix and flip profit into a $100,000 fix and flip profit. And he's going to sit back and twiddle his thumbs and collect payments every month. And he's not a landlord, right? Love that type of a real estate deal. Because again, on the pendulum, if our friend that was on YouTube, I think if I remember a slide talking about that pendulum, that type of deal is where we, a little more active on the fix and flip side, but then we turned it into passive, continuing to get money every single month, not a landlord. Oh, love it. Love that kind of deal. And so yeah, there's, I hope that answers your question, Coach Rose. So I in hard money though, I'm just charging 10% interest and 2.5 points. Now, let's say I do more of like a seller finance. If I'm going to go get a mortgage on it, so like the deal that I analyzed today, I'm assuming that I might go get a mortgage at like 7.5%, but I'm going to charge them like 9.5. And so when I do a seller finance with my mortgage in place like that, I'm just going to jack up whatever I get. And so back in like 2021, when I was doing a bunch of deals like this, I was getting like 3% and I was charging like 7%. And so, bigger spread, but, again, there was, interest rates were amazing, but now I'm about that. I'm about 2%. If I go get 7.5, I'm going to go charge them 9.5 on like a seller finance type of a deal on if I go get a mortgage. Let's see. Layla says, if you were wiped out of everything you had to start over from the ground up with no money in your pocket, where would you start? I mean, that's technically exactly where I was when Mitch found me. And, if you've ever read Mitch's book, what's my name in your book, Mitch? Is it Kyle?
Yeah,
he changed my name to protect my
innocence,
identity. But that's where I was. I literally was wiped out, no money. In fact, technically in buku debt, under what do they call that when your car is upside down? I was upside down on multiple car loans, and barely squeaking by. And so really where I started is exactly that. I mean, I was wiped out. And that's actually why it took me a year. Mitch said, "Hey, Dan, I'm getting into real estate." And I was like, screw that. Because life sucks for me right now. And it took me a freaking year. I can only imagine where I'd be if I had started a year earlier. But it took me a year to finally hit rock bottom, I guess, and say, you know what, the only way to go is up. And so I called Mitch back and said, hey, let's get started. So technically that's where I was. I had nothing. And so to answer your question, it was to start with the 6 inches between my ears, or within the walls of my own mind. Start there, because if you've ever heard Mitch talk about the 5 currencies, just make sure your currencies are in check. Focus on the most important things first, like knowledge and building those relationships. And because if you don't know what you don't know, how are you going to have conversations with those relationships? You don't know what to say until you know what you know, right? You don't know what to say to your relationships until you have the knowledge of doing a real estate deal, analyzing a deal, making an offer, doing your due diligence and your long analysis, right? And so now I will say this, because like Mitch said, I started flipping houses because the network that I surround myself, Mitch included, they were flipping houses. And so I did what everybody else around me was doing. Now, in hindsight, again, I don't want to change anything that I did because I needed that. I needed the journey that I experienced.
It made you find what you love. You had to
Yeah.
you had to figure out what you didn't like so that you could be like, but I loved this part of it.
Exactly. Right. And so I would never change anything. But I will say this, that like, let's say I was wiped out today. Like, let's say, I don't know, an asteroid hits all the areas that I have properties in, and all of a sudden I have zero and I don't have asteroid insurance. Because technically it didn't catch on fire from the asteroid. It's just gone, vanished, right? And there's not even the dirt anymore because now it's a crater and you don't want to build a house at the bottom of a crater. So let's say I was wiped out again today, right? That's a very different question. If I was wiped out again today, I would literally just go and start raising money. Like I have, I would go start raising money because there's two problems when it comes to real estate deals and money to do real estate deals. Either you build a problem where you go raise money and now you have to go find deals. Okay, that's one type of problem. That problem is in that direction, right? You have the money, you need to find the deals. The other problem is, let's say you go start finding real estate deals, and now you're forced because now you have a deadline. Now you have time-sensitive real estate purchase contracts in place, and you have to go scramble to find the money, right? So that problem is going this way. And so you just need to decide, which one do you want to focus on first? Would you rather have the money and just feel all kinds of obligation to go find real estate deals for the money that you've raised? Or do you want to go start making offers and have a property under contract and being like, I got to go raise money now. And because I've got deadlines and I got due diligence and I got to hit these, we got to fund this house, right? I'm not going to say which one is better or worse. I have my preferences on which stress I want. Would I rather have money and stress to find deals, or I have deals and I have stress to find money? And so answer that question for yourself. Do you want to raise money first and find deals? Do you want to find deals and raise money because you have deals and you can present those deals? I personally started raising money by presenting hypothetical deals. And then people said, yeah, if you can find what you're showing me in that hypothetical deal. And honestly, I was just using Mitch's deals. As, hey, Mitch, can you share with me some numbers? Like Mitch has it in his presentation, that house he bought for 250. In fact, that was one of my first deals. House he bought for 250,000, put 50,000 in. We sold for 430,000 months later. Use real live deals like that and be like, yeah, hypothetically, this is a real deal, but hypothetically, this is what I want to go find. And this is what I am looking for at the end of the day. So yeah, decide, what do you want to do first? Go raise money, go find deals, either one or both at the end of the day. And so, yeah, great question.
Daine, I want to weigh in on that real quick, because you kind of presented two scenarios. So you talked about, scenario one, answering that question is, if I could go back and start over, where do I start? And your answer was get educated. And scenario two, the asteroid example, if now where you are, if everything was wiped out, here's the cool thing about that. An asteroid can't destroy your knowledge. So the fact that you got educated in the first place and the fact that you've done what you've done, it doesn't matter if your money is wiped out or your assets are wiped out. You can become a millionaire again pretty much overnight. Someone could strip you of everything you own and drop you naked and alone in any city in the United States, and you could become a millionaire overnight all over again because you have the knowledge. And it goes back to the 5 currencies of the wealthy. There's a reason why we have the order that we have. Time is number one because we can't get any more of it, right? We have what we have and that's it. But then after that, knowledge is the next most important because it can't be stripped from us. Every time we add to that account, it's only addition. We're only adding to it, and no one can take that from us. You know, whereas relationships, credit, and money, those things can be removed, right? So the more knowledge you have, the better off you're going to be in every scenario.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was gonna make a comment, but I was reading Maeli's an invite to all the ladies in the tea party. Maeli, if I put a dress on, can I come to that? Tea party. And high heels. I'll borrow some of Paige's high heels. In fact, I don't think my foot would fit in Paige's high heels.
Absolutely, Daine. I'd love to have you.
But yeah, sounds like fun. Definitely go empowering. We need more women in this real estate space, because at the end of the day, women bring something that men can't. The personality, the nature that women have. I mean, guys are mostly just like, yeah, show me the numbers, right? They don't, we don't care about the people as much. And we try, and we tell ourselves that we try. And I'll tell you, like, the number one reason that we've done so much is because we've tried so hard to help people feel like we care. And this is, we want to help you, but oftentimes we push the numbers too much. and anyway, women bring a very valuable nature to the real estate space. I mean, anybody who knows Maeli already, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Coach Rose says, can you share the lease purchase contract you use? Yeah. So what I do, man, this could be like a whole nother training. I know, Mitch, you said that we're going to finish at 8:30. So we got 3 minutes for me to answer this question. But what I use, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that I'm always doing the things that are within the laws of the state that I'm doing the real estate in. And so I like to use state approved anything. And so my lease option, guess what? I got it right from the realtor, basically the same website that the realtors use to do their lease options. That's the lease option that I'm using. The contract for deed, or in Utah, it's called, in fact, Coach Rode, are you doing Utah? I can even just give you the very website that you're looking for, or that you will be looking for.
Charlotte's based in New Mexico. I don't know where she's planning to invest, but she's based in New Mexico.
Okay, cool. So I'll tell you how I found it in Utah. I just Googled Utah Division of Real Estate. And when you go to that website, there's a little button that says real estate. And then there's a second button that says forms. And on the forms, it has all of the state approved forms. And so I use the uniform real estate contract, which is AKA, or, that's like an alias for the term contract for deed, uniform real estate contract. Utah is the only state that calls it uniform real estate contract. So don't go Google uniform real estate contract, Google contract for deed, right? So I use the state approved AKA contract for deed. I use the realtor template lease option. I use the Utah real estate purchase contract, and that's how I find it. I just Google Utah REPC, and I look for the one that has a PDF, because I know that if I'm operating within what the state of Utah approves, I'm not gonna get, I'm keeping my nose clean, basically, and not getting all kinds of cute and trying to be like, oh yeah, like use all these willy-nilly contracts, stuff like that. So I just use all the state approved stuff. And if I need something custom, then yeah, I'll hire an attorney to do something custom like that. But most of the time, we're just using the state approved. Leela says, sorry, by raising money, does that mean just backing or people that actually give you money to start with? Oh, that's such a good question. I'm going to answer this in 60 seconds. At the end of the day,
you're good. You can go over a little bit. It's not a big deal.
Okay, cool. So at the end of the day, when I say raise money, there's my wife. I'll call her right back. At the end of the day, when I say raise money, what that means when I get somebody that's like, hey, I've got $100,000 or $2 million, whatever dollar amount that I'm raising, if you will, the end of the conversation sounds a little bit exactly like this, actually. Hey, if you like what you have seen here, or really the only decision that you need to make is if you like this and if you want to do it, right? And Mitch, you recognize that question. Hey, I got a dumb question for you. Do you want to do this? The only thing that you need to decide is if you like this and you want to do it. Yeah. The next thing I need to know is obviously how you want to show up on title for all the legal paperwork. But really, I need to know, because I'm out making offers, right? I'm out making offers. I'm out negotiating. I'm out looking at real estate deals. And so I need to know what I can and can't commit to. And so I need to know some kind of a dollar amount that we could put into real estate. If I present a deal to you that you're like, I like this deal, I need to know a dollar amount so that I know what I can and can't commit to. And so if you can decide that now, you can decide that later, but just get me a dollar amount so that I can get to work and go find real estate deals. And so when I say I've got $12 million, I don't have $12 million sitting in the bank account. I have $12 million of people that have answered that question where you know, like I think my biggest guy says I have $2.5 million. And if you go find real estate deals for that I can put $2.5 million to work in, I'll be wiring in $2.5 million. Now, what I do from there is when I have a real estate deal, I tell them, I don't want to see your money, touch your money, smell your money. I don't want to lick it ever. I don't want to be in control of your money ever. When we do a real estate deal, we're going to have all the legal paperwork written up, sent to the title company. I'm going to wire the title. You're going to wire the title. Everything's going to get signed, and title is going to handle that. And so I don't have them turn money over to me ever. Now you can. There are ways to do that if you're raising money in that nature. But typically the type of real estate deal I'm raising money for, I'm not in checkbook control of their money. They are wiring directly to a title company, and that's it. And then when the deal pays out, it goes through title again, because the only payout that we'll have is either the house sells or the house gets refinanced. And so same thing, that money's going to flow through title. And so instead of the money coming to me and then I pay the partners back, I just instruct title, say, hey, you're going to wire this gentleman this much money. You're going to wire this, whatever partner I have in that, you're going to wire that money to them. And so I have never seen other people's money in my account when I'm raising money in that nature. Now, again, there are ways to do that where you have checkbook control, but that'd be a different, much longer conversation. And so I hope that helps. You might want to not use. Oh, the realtor template is designed for us to use. Kathy is saying this, and Kathy, are you know, and maybe I don't understand what you're saying, but yeah, that template is there for us to use for the purpose of doing our real estate. Or maybe I'm not understanding what your advice is here. Also, would you lend to a corporation for an investor that wants to put his, somebody made another comment, so I lost it. Put his current home into an LLC to rent it out and free up his VA loan. Let's see, would you lend to a corporation for an investor that wants to put his current home into an LLC to rent it out and free up his VA loan? If I'm understanding what you're saying there, yes, I've actually done that for a handful of people. Essentially do like a 30-year term or something like that, where we pay off the VA loan for him, free that up, and now he'll have a payment like maybe to myself. And then he now has VA, so he can go get another house on VA and zero down. Then yeah, I've done stuff like that for people pretty often. But yeah, Kathy, let me know if I'm misunderstanding your question about not using the realtor form. Because technically that one is designed for us to use.
I just mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Actually, because I used to be a realtor, I was always told that all of their forms were copywritten or copyrighted. And I didn't know that you said that those forms are to use. So that's good to know.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there are, like if you could ask any realtor, even, in fact, I get them where let's say I'm going to go to, is that me that's making all those noise? Let's see. I'm going to put some people on mute here. And so let's say I'm going to go to a different state. All I'm going to do is call up a realtor and say, hey, do you have like the template lease option that I can use for your state? Do you have the template real estate purchase contract that I can use for your state? And they'll always hand it out and give that out. And so yeah, not a huge issue. In fact, technically the state prefers that we use stuff like that because, if you understand the process that the state went through to build those, they get basically a whole bunch of realtors together, they get a whole bunch of real estate attorneys together and say, all right, let's build this contract based on everybody's knowledge, based on everybody's experience, and let's put all these different things in these contracts so that people are covered, right? We want to cover the seller, we want to cover the buyer. And so that's actually why I love the Utah Repsy, because they've thought about stuff like this. They've thought about buyers, they've thought about horror stories, they've thought of horror stories for buyers, horror stories for sellers. And so there's so many things in there that protect both sides to make sure everybody stays honest, everybody stays, all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, that's why I like them, because they are heavily gone through by multiple attorneys in that state for their real estate. And so I love using those types of things. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh yeah, I have this 1-page Repsy that I use for my wholesaling. I mean, more power to them if that's what they want to use. I have seen horror stories where people have gotten screwed out of deals because their Repsy was not as solid as like the Utah Repsy template. And the seller found somebody else that was like, hey, I'll pay $5,000 more, $1,000 more. And they sold it to them, even though it was technically under contract twice. Technically it's against the law, but by the time they figured out what was going on, they were like, way, the house was already sold. And so they lost the opportunity. So Kathy says, where can I get your information? Mitch, you want me to just type into the chat or something like that?
Yeah, throw it in the chat. And then
okay, cool.
I think I'm gonna cut in here, and Daine's got a family of 5, so he's got to get back to his kids and his wife. So let's go ahead and let him do that. Daine, thank you so much for coming on today, my man. I really appreciate it. I think we all got tons and tons of value. I know I did. I mean, geez, you started out learning stuff from me. And, and now here I am learning tons of stuff from you. So, let's see, I meant to spotlight myself and you, and I think I just,
we're both visible.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Perfect. Well, Daine, thank you again. That was so awesome. Guys, Daine Clark, what an amazing value that he brought. And we're going to have him back on again very soon. We can get him, but he offered it in the call. So I think that's an open offer, right, my friend? Okay,
yeah.
we'll have you back.
And I learned from Mitch the best, where after doing a couple of deals, he's like, Daine, I don't think you're getting it. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't think you're getting how I'm doing so many deals. And he's like, if you want to do a lot of deals, help people do the deals, and you will do a lot of deals. And so yeah, I love. In fact, to date, I mean, I don't want to brag, but to date, I have helped 972 other people get into and make money in a real estate deal. I've only done about 240 some odd myself, but 972 other people get into and make money in a real estate deal. And so, Mitch, it's working. I'm helping people, and I'm noticing that the more I help other people get what they want, the more I'm getting what I want too. So thank you, Mitch.
Well, thank you, Daine. And you're so awesome. You really do call me about every 6 months and thank me for getting you into real estate. And honestly, I'm grateful for that, because that's why I do it. Like I love being a part of seeing people's lives change. But Daine, I can inspire, and Maeli and I, we can inspire, but we can't motivate. You did the work. And you deserve all the credit, because you've done incredible things. But it starts with knowledge and it ends with effort, right? So just push, and then you've done incredible things. So thank you. And we're gonna be coming up. Maeli and I are coming up to see you guys. What, in a couple weeks here? We're gonna hang out at your ranch.
Yeah.
And shoot some things and fly some drones and start some fires and whatnot.
Totally. Yep. In fact, I just got a new drone today. I was showing you that.
I love it.
Looks like during this call it is all charged up. It's dark
VR
outside,
drone.
so I'll be flying it tomorrow.
That's awesome. Well, guys, you can get a hold of Daine. His email address is easy. It's Daine@DaineClark.com. That's Daine@DaineClark.com. It's in the chat. Check it out. Now, just as a reminder, we're heading up to Idaho Falls this weekend. If you want to be a part of that, reach out to either me or Maeli. Let us know. We're going to go see Chris Wilson live. You're welcome to join us. Maeli and I will be there ready to learn from Chris because he's got some incredible stuff he's going to be sharing with us. And one other announcement, Maeli put it in the Zoom chat, but Maeli, for those who aren't necessarily on the Zoom call, those who might be on YouTube, share what you've got.
Yeah, well, so the Utah network, so the Utah Women's Real Estate Investing Network has decided to help sponsor this tea party, so it'll be super fun. We're doing it actually at one of our newest fix and flips, so it'll be a fun opportunity to kind of see what we've done, ask questions about the remodel, the remodeling process, the systems and what we've created, and then also just rub shoulders with people who are doing exactly what you want to be doing. Because realistically, right, in life, we have to surround ourselves around people who are inspiring us and doing bigger and better things than who we hang out with traditionally. And if you're the smartest person in the room, find a new room, right? That's the rule that we have. So come hang out with a bunch of incredible women who have done tons of real estate and learned, different wholesaling and just different tactics that they will be sharing. And then just ask questions. We have about, I think there's 30 seats left for the venue. It'll be a fun tea party. It's being sponsored by multiple different incredible vendors. So we're going to get like the best treats and just, wear hats and pearls and get all dolled up so we can take really fun pictures and have lots of fun social media stuff too. So come hang out. It'll be super fun.
Guys, that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you so much for attending. We're going to be back here next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, bringing some more amazing content. So make sure you mark your calendars. In the meantime, stay happy, stay healthy, stay hungry to go out and do some real estate. We love you all, and we'll see you later.